The classic 80s crime drama Magnum P.I. captivated audiences with its thrilling mysteries, tropical setting, and unforgettable performances. Led by Tom Selleck as the charismatic Thomas Magnum, the show became a cultural phenomenon. However, over the years, 41 beloved cast members have sadly passed away. Some faced long battles with illness, while others were lost too soon in unexpected tragedies. Their contributions to television remain timeless, and their legacies continue to live on. Join us as we remember these 41 actors who brought Magnum P.I. to life and honor the impact they left behind. John Hillerman played Jonathan Quayle Higgins in Magnum P.I. beginning in 1980 at age 48, portraying the rigid but secretly kind estate manager of Robin's Nest. His character, with his aristocratic demeanor and sharp wit, was a perfect foil to Magnum's laid-back attitude. Despite winning an Emmy for his performance, Hillerman struggled with typecasting and found little success after the show ended. He never married and lived a solitary life, dismissing personal rumors while retreating from the public eye. As he aged, his health declined due to chronic pain and heart disease, leaving him increasingly dependent on caretakers. Financial troubles added to his struggles, as his earnings from Magnum P.I. dwindled. In his final years, he withdrew entirely from Hollywood, spending his last days in quiet seclusion. He passed away on November 9, 2017, at the age of 84 due to heart disease, his once commanding presence reduced to a lonely existence in his final years.
I'd appreciate it if you tell your yo-yos to keep their hands off it from now on.
If you wish to put yourself up off the grounds until they leave. No, I didn't think so.
Jeff MacKay played Lieutenant McReynolds in Magnum P.I. beginning in 1980 at age 32, portraying the affable but often overlooked military officer who occasionally aided Magnum in his cases. Though MacKay had a promising start in television, his career quickly lost momentum after Magnum P.I. ended. Struggling with job offers that never materialized, he fell into depression and turned to alcohol to cope. His personal life was equally troubled. His brief marriage ended in divorce, leaving him estranged from his daughter, Samantha. As his addiction worsened, he alienated friends and lost professional opportunities, further spiraling into financial ruin. By the mid-2000s, years of alcohol abuse had taken a severe toll on his health, leading to liver failure. Alone and largely forgotten by the industry, he passed away on August 22, 2008, at the age of 59. His final years were marked by regret, isolation, and a tragic sense of wasted potential, his once promising career cut short by his personal demons.
Hey, you gotta be nuts. Insane. Look, they're gonna court-martial me. They're gonna throw me in a brick.
Mac,
You're talking treason.
Mac, just hear me out, that's all.
No. Look, K.H.
Roger E. Mosley portrayed Theodore T.C. Calvin in Magnum P.I. starting in 1980 at age 42, bringing to life the charismatic helicopter pilot and loyal friend to Magnum. Though T.C. was a fan favorite, Mosley struggled with Hollywood's racial barriers and found himself repeatedly cast in supporting roles rather than leading ones. Despite his career frustrations, he found stability in his long marriage to Antoinette Loudermilk, with whom he had 3 children. However, personal hardship struck when his eldest son faced addiction issues, leaving Mosley guilt-ridden over his absence. In his later years, he focused on mentoring young actors and advocating for better roles for black performers, though financial struggles persisted. In 2022, tragedy struck when he was severely injured in a car accident, leaving him paralyzed. His once powerful presence faded as he lay incapacitated in the hospital. He passed away on August 7, 2022, at the age of 83.
Ill term today.
He's supposed to be in here. I just want to find out why he isn't.
I just want you to know that if you get me busted for a B&E, it's going to cost you more than a day of chauffeuring.
Glenn Cannon joined Magnum P.I. in 1981 at the age of 49, portraying Dr. Ibold, the kind-hearted but minor physician who provided medical assistance to Magnum and his friends. Though he had a long career as a character actor, Cannon never achieved widespread fame, leading him to transition into academia, where he became a respected theater professor. However, his passion for acting never faded, and he struggled with the reality that his Hollywood aspirations had never fully materialized. His marriage suffered under the weight of his unrealized dreams, leaving him emotionally distant from his wife. Without children, he grew increasingly isolated in his later years. His health deteriorated due to undisclosed ailments, forcing him to withdraw from public life. On April 20, 2013, he passed away at the age of 80, his career long forgotten by the entertainment world. His final years were spent in quiet solitude, a stark contrast to the hopeful actor he had once been.
What kind of accident was it?
Oh, a doozy. You drove your car off a cliff.
Elisha Cook Jr. portrayed Francis Icepick Hofstadler in Magnum P.I., starting in 1981 at the age of 78. Icepick was a hardened yet loyal informant, using his underworld connections to help Magnum and Rick. Cook's career spanned over 5 decades, with standout roles in The Maltese Falcon and The Big Sleep, but he was typecast as weak, nervous man, never breaking into leading roles. Financial insecurity haunted him, and as Hollywood moved on, he found himself increasingly forgotten. His personal life was equally tragic. His first marriage to Mary Lou ended in 1942 due to his emotional detachment, and his second marriage to Elvira was marked by distance and sadness. He had no children, leaving him isolated in his final years. He suffered multiple strokes, each robbing him of his independence, and spent his last days in a small, cluttered apartment, alone and disconnected from the industry that had once embraced him. On May 18, 1995, he passed away from a final stroke at the age of 91.
He said, Smitty, I swear.
I didn't tell him much. I gave him a nice deal on an Uzi, fully automatic.
What would he want with an Uzi?
All of my weapons are unconditional.
Lance LeGault played Colonel Buck Greene in Magnum P.I., joining the cast in 1981 at 46. His character was a tough, no-nonsense military officer who frequently clashed with Magnum, embodying rigid authority. LeGault's deep, commanding voice was his most recognizable trait, earning him work in narration and commercials, but his acting career never elevated beyond supporting roles. Despite a long career in TV and film, he struggled financially, taking small roles to stay afloat. His marriage to Teresa LeGault produced 4 children, Mary, Teresa, Marcus, and William, but his frequent absences on set created emotional distance, and his relationship with his family suffered. As he aged, he battled severe health issues, including heart problems, and the industry that once valued him largely ignored him. By the end of his life, he lived in quiet obscurity, his once powerful presence fading from memory. On September 10, 2012, he died from heart failure at the age of 77, a once imposing figure reduced to a footnote in television history.
Who's the Wahine?
Name's Julie Barbara. She's a lawyer for inter-island shipping. She's nice. Look.
Seth Sakai played the disciplined Major II in Magnum P.I., joining the cast in 1981 at the age of 49. His character was strict and tactical, often involved in high-stakes situations requiring military precision. Despite a long acting career, Sakai faced the challenges of being an Asian American actor in Hollywood, where opportunities were limited, and he was often relegated to minor, stereotypical roles. His career frustrations mirrored his personal life. His marriage lacked deep connection, and his 2 sons, David and Kenji, grew distant, feeling their father prioritized work over family. As he aged, he watched lesser actors achieve stardom while he remained largely unnoticed, which filled him with quiet resentment. His health declined, and his death on May 10, 2007, at the age of 74, was shrouded in mystery, with no publicly disclosed cause. His passing was barely acknowledged, a tragic end for a man who spent his life trying to be seen.
And your friend here should know that. He saw me kill him, as I will personally do to him. And you.
Phyllis Davis took on the role of Cleo Mitchell in Magnum P.I. in 1985 at 45, portraying a charming, intelligent woman who often helped Magnum in his investigations. Davis gained early fame in Vega Dollar and other television appearances, but as she aged, meaningful roles became scarce. Hollywood's preference for younger actresses pushed her into the background, leading to career frustration. She never married, though she had a long-term relationship with casino mogul Jim Stafford, which ended in heartbreak due to his infidelity. She deeply wished for children but never had any, a regret that weighed heavily on her in later years. As her acting career faded, she lived a quieter life, but cancer soon took its toll. Isolated and forgotten by the industry she had once thrived in, she succumbed to the illness on September 27, 2013, at the age of 73, passing away in near anonymity.
Right, which was the last time anybody ever heard from her. I don't know if you know this, but she was working down in Waikiki, and word has it she was skimming from her man.
Danny Kamekona took on the role of Ching in Magnum P.I. in 1981 at 46, portraying a powerful and mysterious figure entangled in high-stakes dealings. Though he later gained recognition in The Karate Kid Part 2, his career was marred by typecasting, limiting him to supporting roles that never fully showcased his talent. His personal life was equally troubled, his marriage ended in divorce, and his relationship with his only son was distant and strained. Financial instability haunted him in his later years, forcing him to take on minor roles to make ends meet. Suffering from declining health, he became increasingly isolated, a far cry from the charismatic presence he once had on screen. On May 2, 1996, at the age of 60, he suffered a fatal heart attack alone in his home. His death went unnoticed for hours, a tragic and lonely end for a man who had once been a part of Hollywood's golden era.
Not the father all along. Mr. Ching, you're a master criminal in your own right, but not the one at the moment, eh?
Marta DuBois played Michelle Hugh in Magnum P.I. in 1981 at 29, bringing a haunting beauty and emotional depth to Magnum's lost love. Despite her striking presence, she struggled to secure lasting fame, often landing roles in short-lived TV series like Tales of the Gold Monkey. Hollywood's fickle nature left her sidelined, and she watched many of her contemporaries rise while her own career stagnated. Personally, she faced deep loneliness, never marrying and never having children, despite her longing for a family. As she aged, health problems surfaced, and quiet battles with depression further isolated her. She rarely spoke about her struggles, maintaining a graceful public image despite the hardships she faced. On May 8, 2018, at the age of 65, she suffered a sudden and fatal brain aneurysm in her home, a heartbreaking end for a woman who had once captured hearts on screen but remained largely forgotten in her final years.
Come to me.
I can't. I have to go to my husband, Thomas.
Eugene Roche joined Magnum P.I. in 1983 at 55 as Luther H. Gillis, a lovable but unconventional private investigator who added comedic relief to the show. A veteran actor with a long career in television and film, he never reached true stardom, often playing supporting roles that made him familiar but never famous. Despite working consistently, he struggled financially, never earning the wealth or recognition his talent deserved. His personal life, though seemingly stable, was complicated. His demanding career kept him distant from his wife and children, leading to strained relationships that left him with lingering regrets. As he aged, health problems emerged, and he found himself taking on fewer roles, his presence in Hollywood fading. On July 28, 2004, at the age of 75, he died of a heart attack, his passing barely making headlines.
Come on, I didn't ice Gary.
Just checking, trying to trip you up. Rapid fire delivery, that's part of my style. Everybody's got to have a style.
Come on.
Joe Santos took on the role of Police Lieutenant Nolan Page in Magnum P.I. in 1986 at the age of 55, portraying a hardened yet deeply moral officer committed to justice. His character was a no-nonsense lawman who brought experience and authority to the force, often clashing with Magnum but always respecting his instincts. Despite a successful career that included notable roles in the Rockford Files, Santos struggled with financial insecurity, often taking minor roles to make ends meet. His personal life was equally tumultuous. His marriage to Mary Carroll ended in bitter estrangement, leaving him emotionally distant from his two sons, Joseph and Perry. Health problems plagued his later years, compounded by mounting medical bills and the loneliness of a fading career. In March 2016, he suffered a massive heart attack and was placed on life support, spending his final days in a hospital bed, unable to communicate. He passed away on March 18, 2016, at the age of 84.
Maggie, I knew you were there.
Magnum, Lieutenant Page. I think you better get down here right away.
Gwen Verdon stepped into the role of Katherine Peterson in Magnum P.I. in 1985 at the age of 60, portraying a sophisticated and witty woman whose intelligence and charm often stood out in the series. A Broadway legend and celebrated dancer, Verdon's career had been filled with dazzling highs, but as she aged, roles became scarce, and she struggled with the loss of her former glory. Her personal life was marred by heartbreak. Her turbulent marriage to famed director Bob Fosse was filled with infidelity and emotional distance, leaving her permanently scarred. Though she had one daughter, Nicole, their relationship was strained due to Verdon's all-consuming devotion to her career. As her health declined, she withdrew from public life, suffering from debilitating arthritis that robbed her of her ability to dance. In her final years, she lived alone, haunted by memories of a past she could never reclaim. On October 18, 2000, she suffered a fatal heart attack at the age of 75.
As long as Frank can fly, he's okay. We should take a run out and see his air freight company.
Sunteko made his debut as Dr. Bill Sue in Magnum P.I. in 1981 at the age of 49, playing a compassionate and highly skilled physician who was always ready to help Magnum and his friends. A respected character actor, O was a trailblazer for Asian representation in Hollywood, but despite his achievements, he faced a lifetime of typecasting and limited opportunities. His frustrations extended to his personal life. Though married, his demanding career strained his relationship with his wife, and his absence left his children feeling distant from him. In his later years, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, a cruel fate for a man whose mind had once been so sharp. As his condition worsened, he became completely dependent on caregivers, unable to recognize even his closest family members. He passed away on April 4, 2018, at the age of 85.
Not at all, darling. General was just going over the final preparations for the people's celebration.
Well, forgive me for barging in on you.
Denny Miller portrayed FBI agent Longden in Magnum P.I., first appearing in 1982 at 48. His character was sharp and resourceful, embodying the relentless pursuit of justice. Miller initially found success as a television Tarzan in the late 1950s, but his career quickly declined, forcing him into a string of forgettable guest roles. Despite his chiseled features and natural charisma, Hollywood never fully embraced him, leaving him perpetually on the fringes. His personal life was filled with regret. Though he was married to Nancy Miller for many years, the weight of his failing career and financial instability cast a shadow over their relationship. They had one son, Brad, but Miller's inability to provide the life he envisioned for his family haunted him. In his later years, he was diagnosed with ALS, a cruel disease that slowly robbed him of his mobility and dignity. He passed away on September 9, 2014, at the age of 80.
Goes to the world.
Road signs.
Mm-hmm.
You two didn't happen to have anything to do with the Howard Hughes autobiography, did you?
Of course.
Paul Burke took on the role of Admiral Hawks in Magnum P.I. in 1981 at 55, portraying a stern yet strategic leader who guided Magnum through tough situations. Though he once found fame in Naked City and 12 O'Clock High, his career gradually faded, leaving him with only sporadic guest roles. His later years were marred by scandal. He and his second wife, Lynn Peters, were entangled in a legal battle over an illegal gambling ring, staining his already waning reputation. His personal life was no less chaotic. Married twice, his first marriage to Peggy Pryor ended in heartbreak, and he struggled to maintain close relationships with his children. His declining health and the failures of his later career left him disillusioned, and he withdrew from the public eye. Diagnosed with leukemia and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, he suffered through a slow, painful deterioration, a cruel end for a man who had once commanded the screen with authority. He passed away on September 13, 2009, at the age of 83.
I don't think he knows, Colonel. Or if he does, is going to say. Well, I've got a reception to attend. Lieutenant?
Patrice Martinez joined Magnum P.I. in 1987 at just 24, playing Linda Lee Ellison, a sharp and captivating journalist whose romance with Magnum brought both tension and emotional depth to the show. Despite her talent and striking presence, Martinez struggled to secure major Hollywood roles, often sidelined and overlooked in favor of more mainstream actresses. After a promising start in Three Amigos, her career failed to take off, leading to years of frustration and unfulfilled potential. Personally, her life was filled with heartbreak. She married producer Daniel Kamhe, but the relationship was short-lived and ended in divorce. She never remarried, nor had children, and spent much of her later years in quiet isolation. Her final years were marked by declining health due to a prolonged illness, which she kept private, refusing to let the world see her suffering. She succumbed to her illness, passing away on December 24, 2018, at the age of 55.
I'm glad I caught up with you.
Me too.
I couldn't leave it the way it was.
Tim Rossovich stepped into the role of Hank in Magnum P.I. in 1986 at 40, portraying a rugged and fearless character who often found himself in perilous situations. Before acting, Rossovich had a promising football career in the NFL, but injuries forced him into early retirement, leaving him to navigate an uncertain future. Though he found steady work in Hollywood, appearing in shows like The A-Team and MacGyver, he was often cast as muscle-bound enforcers, never given the opportunity to showcase deeper talent. His personal life was chaotic, his marriage was turbulent, filled with fights and separations, and he struggled with substance abuse that further strained his relationships. Despite having a daughter, he was largely absent from her life, too consumed by his own demons. As he aged, health complications took a toll, exacerbated by years of physical strain from both football and stunt work. He succumbed to respiratory arrest on December 6, 2018, at the age of 72.
Nobody talks about my fiancé that way. Nobody.
Why, you little pissant.
Moe Keale portrayed Granville in Magnum P.I. in 1981 at 42, embodying a warm-hearted and kind character, always ready to lend a helping hand. Off-screen, Keale was a respected Hawaiian musician, but despite his artistic contributions, he struggled with financial instability, often taking on minor acting roles just to survive. Though he found some recognition in Hawaii, mainstream Hollywood never fully embraced him, leaving him to battle feelings of inadequacy. His personal life was no less tragic. He married once, but the relationship crumbled due to his demanding career and long periods away from home. He had 2 children, but his absence led to emotional distance, and he spent his later years trying to mend the broken bonds. Plagued by health issues, Keale faced mounting medical bills, adding to his already overwhelming stress. On April 15, 2002, at the age of 62, he suffered a fatal heart attack, passing away with many of his dreams unfulfilled.
How are you gonna pay for the beer, huh?
I'll handle it, Danny. Order all you want.
That's a lot of beer. These boys drink their weight in beer.
Robert Loggia took on the role of Trusso in Magnum P.I. in 1980 at the age of 50, portraying a formidable and cunning adversary whose intelligence and ruthlessness often placed him at odds with Magnum. His sharp mind and manipulative nature made him a memorable antagonist, though his presence on the show was brief. Loggia's career spanned decades, earning him roles in classics like Scarface and Big, but he struggled with typecasting, often playing hardened criminals or military men. Despite his Hollywood success, his personal life was turbulent. His first marriage to Marjorie Sloan ended in divorce, and though he later married Audrey O'Brien, his demanding career created distance between him and his children, Tracy and John. In his later years, he suffered from Alzheimer's, a cruel irony for a man known for his sharp wit. As the disease progressed, he lost his ability to recognize loved ones. On December 4, 2015, he succumbed to complications of Alzheimer's at the age of 85.
And me?
There are two kinds of men in war, Magnum.
Dana Winter took on the role of Olivia Ross in Magnum P.I. in 1982 at the age of 51, portraying a woman of elegance and intelligence who added depth and intrigue to the series. A former Hollywood starlet, Winter had once been celebrated for her performances in films such as Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Sink the Bismarck, yet as she aged, the industry's obsession with youth rendered her obsolete. Her personal life was marked by disappointment. Her marriage to high-profile attorney Greg Boutzer produced one son, Mark Reagan, but their divorce left her emotionally wounded and unwilling to seek another long-term relationship. The loneliness of her later years weighed heavily on her as she withdrew into seclusion, lamenting the career and social life she had lost. Suffering from congestive heart failure, she spent her final days in physical pain and emotional despair, passing away on May 5, 2011, at the age of 79.
Mr. Martin's stunt double.
You know, for a second, I thought you looked just like Jack when I married him.
Really?
James Shigeta played Dr. Richard Inoka in Magnum P.I. in 1983 at the age of 54, portraying a compassionate and intelligent physician whose medical expertise was invaluable to Magnum and his friends. A pioneering Asian American actor, Shigeta once stood on the precipice of stardom, starring in Flower Drum Song and Die Hard, but the rampant racism in Hollywood left him typecast and struggling for leading roles. Despite his talent, he was repeatedly overlooked, forced into supporting roles while watching lesser actors ascend to the heights he had dreamed of. His personal life was equally lonely. He never married or had children, dedicating himself entirely to his work, though Hollywood's cold indifference eventually left him with little to hold on to. By the time he passed away on July 28, 2014, at the age of 85 from natural causes, he had been largely forgotten by the industry he had once fought to break into.
He was? How very unlikely.
You couldn't be sure of that.
Granted. But neither can you be certain of everything you...
David Hemmings appeared as Danny in Magnum P.I. in 1985 at the age of 44, playing a charismatic and enigmatic figure who often found himself entangled in morally ambiguous situations. Once a cinematic icon of the 1960s, best known for his lead role in Blow Up, Hemmings had been a symbol of British New Wave cinema. Struggling to find meaningful roles, he turned to directing, though his work never reached the acclaim of his acting days. His personal life was a whirlwind of broken relationships. His 3 marriages, including one to actress Gail Honeycutt, all ended in divorce, and his relationships with his children, Nolan, Edward, and Charlotte, were strained by his self-destructive habits. His battles with alcohol and weight gain only worsened his declining health, leaving him a shadow of the striking young actor he once was. While attempting a late career resurgence in film, tragedy struck. On December 3, 2003, he suffered a fatal heart attack at the age of 62 while on set.
1441 Mahali. You have a friend who lives on Mahali?
I have friends everywhere. And I don't need to leave to check.
Orson Welles lent his legendary voice to the unseen Robin Masters in Magnum P.I. in 1981 at 66, adding to the character's air of mystery. Once a Hollywood prodigy, Welles revolutionized cinema with Citizen Kane, but the industry turned its back on him, forcing him into a life of constant financial struggle. His once glorious career descended into low-paying voice roles, and he took on commercials and obscure projects just to survive. His personal life was equally unstable. 3 marriages ended in heartbreak, and his final years were marked by obesity, declining health, and professional rejection. The once celebrated filmmaker, who had commanded Hollywood in his youth, found himself struggling for relevance. On October 10, 1985, at 70, he suffered a fatal heart attack while sitting at his typewriter, still working on projects that would never see the light of day. Jimmy Borges took on the role of Happy Ho in Magnum P.I. in 1981 at age 46, embodying a cheerful and charismatic man who brought lightheartedness to the show. Despite being a talented jazz singer and actor, he never achieved widespread fame, often relegated to background roles due to Hollywood's racial biases against Asian American performers. He spent decades fighting for recognition, performing tirelessly in clubs and on small stages while his contemporaries soared to stardom. His personal life suffered from his career frustrations. Though he married Vicky Borges, their relationship was strained by financial stress and his constant search for validation in the entertainment industry. They had one daughter, Stephanie, but Borges was often absent, chasing fleeting opportunities. Later in life, his health deteriorated, and in 2011, he was diagnosed with cancer. On May 30, 2016, he succumbed to the disease at the age of 80. Rick Marlowe took on the role of Dave Mitchell in Magnum P.I. in 1981 at the age of 56, portraying a resourceful and steadfast ally to Magnum. Though his character played a minor role in the series, he provided crucial support in various investigations. Outside of acting, Marlowe was best known for co-writing the classic song A Taste of Honey, yet despite this achievement, his career remained inconsistent. He struggled to maintain financial stability, and his creative aspirations often led to disappointment. Marlowe married multiple times, but each relationship ended in failure, leaving him emotionally drained and alone. His only child, a daughter, became estranged from him due to his volatile personality and inability to maintain a stable home. In his later years, he suffered from deteriorating health and increasing obscurity, his name largely forgotten by the industry. On February 28, 2017, at the age of 91, he passed away from natural causes. Who is your favorite character in Magnum P.I.? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.